Over the last few days, we've been working hard taking down trees, taking them over and milling them up to create our own lumber. And it got me thinking, is this just a simple way to save money building our house? Or could there be a serious side hustle here of making money milling our own lumber? Initial estimates seem to be pretty astonishing, but I'm looking forward to, after this 5-day week, seeing how much money we can make milling our own lumber. Now, none of this would really be possible without machinery like this. This is what's keeping us safe. Rather than cutting down the trees with a chainsaw, which is just a little bit more dangerous than I want to take on, especially with very limited experience. By limited, I mean none. So instead we have this big excavator to rip away at the roots and to push the trees over very safely. At the same time, it has the benefit of pulling out the stump. Now, that does mean that we do have a little bit of cost already sunk. This was about $2,000 to rent. So we're starting off in the hole, and we're gonna keep a tally of everything that we spend throughout this process, including fuel, and we'll list that tally at the end of the video. All right, well, what luxury today, especially when it's so cold, to sit inside of a cab and stay nice and warm. So we are attempting to be as strategic as possible as we pull out these trees. If you missed our last video, we actually had someone from the forestry division from the state come out and advise us on what trees to take out because this area is overstocked. And in the process of taking trees out, we're also trying to be just really cautious of the canopy and not damaging any of the trees that we want to stay in the process. There we go. A little bit too far to the left. That's a shame. What I'm doing here is working my way up to the biggest tree we've tackled so far, which is gonna be a monster. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a David and Goliath moment with this excavator. This is a 9-ton, but it does have its limits. We're gonna see if this tree ends up beating its limits. But for now, I just gotta get through 2 more before we can tackle that big one. All of the big stuff is really easy to take down and pick up with the grapples and move out. It's all the small stuff, all the small debris that really is time consuming. And we're making brush piles in different spots around the property just to give critters a nice place to live. But it's the brush that's so ridiculously time consuming. This log's no good for beams. Look at this, come around here. It's full of ants. So, sad.
Well, that's a bummer.
I didn't realize that hickory was so dark. My dad's saying that it should look like chestnut beams when we get it all milled up. But this dark center is what we'll end up milling. I think there's 6x6 beams for all of the ceilings. That's gonna be lovely. So sadly, we don't have that much hickory, and this log It's just too rotten, but it will be used for firewood. So every little last bit gets used for something.
So I know that it can feel a bit chaotic seeing all of these trees come down, and honestly for me it's hard to see it because I really just want to maintain the beauty of the forest here. But this is just the smallest portion of what we have to work with on this property. There's still so much untouched forest, and the forestry expert even told us that we need to be clearing out all of the brush in this area to help the forest thrive. When this property was listed, one of the selling points was actually how much lumber, usable lumber, you could get out of this property. And so a lot of other people would have probably bought this property just to mill this lumber and turn it into, you know, a field. And we're not going to do that. We are going to preserve as much of this forest as we possibly can. We want this to be a safe haven for wildlife, and we want to do whatever we can to help this forest thrive.
All right, so I've been trying to drop the trees just behind me in this consistent direction. One, because the wind is really picking up, so we're using the wind to our advantage. And then two, it's kind of giving a consistent brush pile over there. With this one, all of our gas cans and other material and supplies are right in the path, and my dad and I have a bet whether or not they will touch. He says no. I think just the leaves are gonna touch the gas can.
I'm probably the pessimist of the group.
Nah, we gotta have a little bit of fun in this process while staying safe.
I'm the most risk averse. I think
Risk adverse.
That's true.
We have to have fun.
Yeah.
I think he got nervous, he moved everything.
Was it safe?
It's all good.
Good.
We wouldn't have hit it anyways. But just to be safe, he moved it.
Yeah, it's good for good measure. Brady's dad is heading back out to mill some of this lumber that we have cut down, and we're trying to balance the rhythm of how to most effectively clear this space and get milling done, while also trying to be able to get all of these trees down as quickly as possible. So Bradey is finishing up clearing out this tree back here that we just took down, and I'm hoping that maybe on this next one, there's a smaller one. I'm hoping that I'm gonna get a chance to try to bring one of these trees down. I cannot believe how much lumber we have already been able to mill up with just the few trees that have come down so far, and we have a lot more to go. So we are going to get so much lumber to be able to utilize to build this house. It's pretty incredible. So as we are pulling up these trees and leaving the stumps with the roots attached, that's obviously creating a huge hole in the ground, and so we need to bring back the dirt to fill in those spots so that the ground will be a bit more level, easier to go over with the machines, and so no one trips on them. We're just going to go ahead and fill in those as we go.
Well, I can't hog all of the fun. Heather needs a turn knocking down trees, which this isn't exactly fair. She's a great skid steer operator, but it's your first time sitting in an excavator.
Okay. Ah, am I doing it right?
You got it. Don't worry.
I'm a little timid. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing and I can't really see. Bradey, the roots are right here. It's gonna catch. Okay. Oh my gosh, that was a little scary. I don't think I like that kind of power. Oh, I don't like that.
So really quick, allow me a brief moment to remind you about the importance of protecting your personal data while online, and to tell you about today's video sponsor, Delete Me. Delete Me is a hands-free service that removes your personal information from hundreds of data brokers and people's search sites, reducing the risk of personal information getting into the wrong hands. Unfortunately, data brokers can legally collect personal information about you, things like your home address, your cell phone number, your email address, package up that information and sell it off to the highest bidders, whether that's to advertisers, which lead to all of those annoying spam phone calls, or to potential scammers. Scams and phishing attempts in particular are on the rise, and it's really hard to discern what's real and what's not these days. So the best line of defense, I think, is to have your personal information removed from the internet so that you're not having the phishing attempts sent off to you. When you sign up for Delete Me, you'll get a privacy report within 7 days showing where all of your information is left public, which that first report will be a doozy and will be quite surprising, but then Delete Me will go to work on your behalf having this information removed. Delete Me has been in business for 15 years now and was recently named the #1 data removal service by Wirecutter, and we've been trusting them personally for over 2 years now. So if you'd also like to join Delete Me right now, you can get 20% off by going to joindeleteme.com/Voyagers, or by scanning the QR code on screen now, or simply by entering the coupon code Voyagers at checkout. But with that, thank you so much to Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. All right, so we got the first bunker of lumber finished. We got to move it over and stack it up, which is going to be a little precarious because it's awfully heavy. Go slow.
Yeah, very.
There's lots of bumps on the way, so be careful. And that is a lot of lumber, and to think that the majority of our efforts have just been in clearing so far with not very much time into milling, and that's still a ton of lumber. So Dad, tell me about this lumber, the quality of the lumber we have here.
It's really high quality. I mean, some of the logs, you're cutting them and you're not seeing a single knot in them. So, I mean, you got 4x4s, you can see the center pith what we cut out, but everything else is clear. So it's super great material.
We've been milling a lot of this into 2x lumber as well as starting to do some 4x4s. I just want to get a huge variety of lumber that we can use in the future for any kind of projects, whether it's building tables or structural work or trim work or anything we could possibly use. We're stocking up now so that once it's dry, we're ready to use it. Well, good morning to what feels like the start of a winter morning here. We had our first frost and it's a cold one. I am stunned though, as all of the fall colors are coming in, but especially as we're opening up this canopy and allowing natural light to come in, just how beautiful this property is becoming on a daily basis. Yesterday, I had hoped to get to the biggest trees, but the wind had picked up a little bit too much. I just didn't feel safe doing it. So this morning, we are dropping 2 or 3 of the largest trees that we will on this property. These trees we have to be careful with because we need every last bit of them to make the ceiling beams for the house. So I need to let them down gently and just pray that there's no rot on the inside of them. I'm not gonna lie, these next 3 trees have me pretty nervous. These are, they're big trees. Let's see, they're about, I'd say 85 feet tall or so. 36-inch hickories probably, something like that. This first one that I'm going to attempt is the smallest out of all 3 of them, just because even though this is a 9-ton excavator, it does have its limits and is leaning in the right direction. So let's just start with something a little bit easier, get me warmed up before we tackle on the next 2 big ones, which are gonna be more challenging.
So Bradey is now digging out even further around the base of the tree to hopefully make this a little bit easier to push down. It's a lot of back and forth trying to figure out when this tree is going to be able to fall. So Bradey's honking, giving his dad the signal that it's time to move out of the way because we're going to try to push this tree over again. And so he's over there clearing up some of the brush, and we need to wait for him to obviously get out of the way, and then we'll have another attempt at pushing over this tree.
We have to take these trees down just for the construction of the house. We're not taking anything extra. So I just don't want to waste any of the timber. I want to make sure it comes down as gently as I can possibly let it down, while also, first and foremost, making sure that it's a safe process. And honestly, it's a little bit stressful. There could be a taproot holding it together that we can't actually access. He's going to go grab the other machine. We're going to push together. That one's a fair bit smaller, but I think together we should be able to have a much better shot at pushing it over. But it's still unbelievably, infinitely safer than trying to cut it with a chainsaw. All right, 2 machines going at the same time. Oh yeah, lots more power. But is it enough? That's the question. Oh man. This is one stubborn tree. Dig around the other side of it. Oh, there she goes. There she goes. Oh yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh yeah. That's what you want, man. Wow, that took some serious effort. That was a little tense. Oh, and to think we have 3 more, or 2 more, and both of them are bigger than this. Whew. Took a little bit extra effort than what I thought it would take, but man, we got it. We got it. That's a tree.
Oh my goodness. You guys did it. I was worried there for a little while.
I wasn't sure it was possible.
I wasn't sure we were gonna get it.
The problem is that all of the clay that sticks to the root base.
Is it frozen? It's so cold.
No, it's not frozen, but just the sheer mass of it weighs, I don't know, probably 5,000 pounds, just the root base. And it's that extra counterbalance that makes it nearly impossible to push over. Well, that's a huge win. That's 3 16-foot logs. Oh, you doing a 12? Either way, that's half the beams for the entire house. But that was some work.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's perfect condition. Look at that.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that.
That's gonna be some lovely
gorgeous.
ceilings.
So throughout the bottom floor of the house, we're going to be having wooden beams on the ceilings because we love that aesthetic. And this is what we're gonna use. I'm so excited, and we should have enough right now to do the whole lower floor of the house. Actually, I think we're just gonna have it in like the kitchen, living, dining area, but it's gonna be beautiful.
As well as our bedroom and certain other sections, but we're gonna be milling all of this up in just another hour here. Oh man, this is way too big of a sump to be moving like this. Oh man. You know what I thought about as I was pushing that giant tree stump over, pinned against the blade? That I think Andrea would have been proud. I learned that trick from him.
Yeah, for sure he would.
Man, this is fun though. It really is. All right, so I'm 95, 98% positive the camera won't get hit. All right, best of luck to you.
Oh, 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 there we go, there we go! Oh my goodness!
All right, so we're down to the very last large tree, the very last one that we need 2 excavators to dig out. And unfortunately, this one is curving back like a C, so the excavators have to be parked kind of partially underneath the tree, which is why we're, being extra safe here. Don't think it's a problem whatsoever. There are no dead branches, but just need to be extra safe here. Having 2 excavators side by side pushing makes a huge difference. But as you can see, this tree kind of curves back and is gonna live above us, so we both have hard hats on and ready to take it out. So we've just now started milling up these 16-foot long beams. We've got about 24 of these to get through. Thankfully, we got enough hickory to get through it. This is that hickory sliced open. The contrast between the light and dark wood. We're gonna turn this into 5x5, so they're gonna be split along here. And then these will be the 16-foot beams that will be on our ceiling. These beams have a 2-tone color to them with the heartwood as well as the whitewood on the outside. And then later on, I'm gonna add a little bit of rustic axe marks to it, just like we did in Italy. But to see the hickory coming off of the mill is getting me just as excited as the chestnut beams that we milled up for Italy. So I do want to quickly say it's not lost on me just how cool of an experience this is to be able to mill up our own lumber, to save literally thousands of dollars on lumber, and I can't wait to see what that ends up being at the end of today. But to mill alongside with my dad and know that in the future when the home is finished, to look up at the ceilings, the beams on the ceilings, the doors in the house, the trim around the house, and know that all of that lumber came from this property, that we're reusing all of it. But just to have the memory and the experience of milling up this lumber and these beams with my dad, it's a very, very special experience. I'm feeling very grateful. That is a lot of lumber. All of those beams.
We ran out of stickers.
16 feet.
We still got to grab some stickers to put between them.
Got a little bit of walnut in there and lots more to mill at some other point. All right, so before we do a final tally up of all of the lumber to see what kind of value we've created over the last week milling lumber, let's first stop and look around and appreciate the final build site. We have completely finished out all of the clearing, all of the knocking down trees, and this is what we're left with.
I am so excited with how this feels. I was a little bit worried about taking all these trees down and would it change the way it feels back here, and it doesn't. I'm so excited. This is going to be the perfect spot for our new home.
So that means we're finished taking down trees. We've leveled the site, clearing out about 35 feet away from the building site. And then we'll come back and we'll plant smaller trees once the home is built so that the entire house feels just fully nestled into the forest.
So this right here will be about the start of the backyard. So when we exit the house, this is the view.
All right, so even though we spent about 70% of the last week just clearing the land and taking down the trees, we did still manage to mill up the entire lumber package for the entire house, including all doors and trim and aesthetic beams and all of the lumber that we're gonna be using for the finished work. It's all sitting here right behind me. At the beginning of the video, I asked how much value could we create milling our own lumber? So my dad gave me a spreadsheet of the best value lumber that you can buy around. This is not the inflated prices of going to the big box store. This is the base lowest bulk pricing that you can get. And just in the hickory beams that we mill up, those 5x5, 16-foot long beams, we have 800 board feet, which is normally valued at $8 a board foot, actually more because they're thick beams. That's $6,400 just in those beams alone. And then on top of that, there's another 1,600 board feet of maple, walnut, and hickory for all of the trim and furniture and all of that, for a total valuation of bare minimum $8,000. If you had gone to a big box store, it'd be closer to $16,000, which just blows my mind. That's just the value that we created milling our own wood in the last week alone. Then I promised at the beginning of the video I'd be transparent with the pricing of everything that went into this week. We had $2,300 into equipment rental. We had about $220 worth of diesel for running all of the equipment and the chainsaws and whatnot. And we had $79 into a hydraulic hose that I blew up. And that was it. The rest of the week was just a hard week of manual labor. But I should mention that with the cost that also went towards clearing the land, which if you remember, the original quote from a professional company was $38,000. And just as a heads up, in our next video, we're gonna be back to work in Italy at the stone house. Got a long day of taking all of the machinery and storing it away, as well as the lumber, before hopping on a plane tomorrow. But with that, thank you so much for your support, and we will see you in our next video from Italy.